Welcome to our third episode of YeiraLab. I'm Ernesto, and we're going to spend the time on this third episode running through lots of examples of styling, layouts, and other stuff that we have integrated into Bloom, coming from this fantastic library, Bulma. It's a fantastic CSS framework. So without further ado, let's just jump into our screen session here. I'm going just to share my screen with all of you. And you see that I have here already my project opened, and it's fully synchronized with my browser on this end. And I have a small piece of text here, a comment. Something that I really love of YAML is that I can use this hash comments, and that means I don't need to use that cumbersome HTML comment format. And I can place them anywhere. I can place them if I want to, here or anywhere. So you see I have here already prepared some lorem ipsum text that I can use for doing some examples. And this is the force ipsum. It comes out of the Star Wars saga. So I thought it was going to be fun using it. Okay, then I have my basic template here, and we're going to be running through a lot of examples. So you see already this is synced here. And we're going to start posting some basic paragraphs right away. So, but before that, let me just erase this. We're not going to be using content in these cases. So you remember that in the last sessions, we were talking about pages as the main entry point, and we're going to be working on a single page for the moment. So we have a category ID, and now I'm going to start right here with a block element. This is coming out of Bulma. And inside of this block, I'm going to put text and just a normal hello world. And you see that nothing will change dramatically. It's going to be basically the same hello world that we've been saying. So this is a normal text. And after this, let's put another block. And in this case, we're going to use title. This is my title, and just going to copy this and paste here and just change title to subtitle. And we know what this is going to be doing. So just as soon as I store this, we're going to see immediately the result. And now let's do some changes here on this block just for the sake of fun. I'm going to change the background. I'm going to use a class that is available on Bulma, and this is a has background. And I'm going to put here an info background info. And what this is going to do is it's going to change the color to blue of this background. And if you don't like this because of the padding, for instance, or the margin, I can add a modifier here as well. Let's try with padding 4. And this is going to give an extra spacing to this block. It's a bit dark. Let's try another modifier here. I can use this light dark or just leave it as it is on every class in Bulma that is related to color. So you see now I have a light blue here, light shade. Okay, so let's try something else now. Let's try some text transformation. And I'm just going to copy this same block down here, change it to something different. Let's say danger, which is another class for red. And instead of having a title and subtitle, let's change these titles for, let's modify the size. And I have lots of sizes that I can choose from. Right now, I'm going to just put a size 4. And the only thing I need to do is I need to add to my title element an is4 modifier. And then I'll see how this changes to a standard size for both components here, both paragraphs or titles. So let's try now is capitalized. And on this one, we're going to type is lower case. And similarly, we're going to have here it's uppercase. So these are classes that you can use to modify your your paragraph. So you don't need to retype it. If you have it from somewhere, and in your design indications, you have to change this to all caps, and you can do it just with this modifier. There's another simple modifier that is how to change this to monospace type of fonts. And we can use family code. And this is going to be then changing to fixed size, or fixed width text. You see it here. Okay, so let's move on now. Let's see all the sizes that we have for this paragraph. So if I just copy this block, I'm just going to copy this and remove this capitalized, and let's just put another color. Let's use warning. And let's give it a try, the normal warning. And now I'm going to be copying this multiple times and just go and see all the sizes that we can see, 3, 4, 5, and up to 6, and there's no more paragraph sizings. So you see now I have this yellow block, and you see all the sizes for your titles and subtitles. So it doesn't matter if you change this title for subtitle, it will pick up the size that's defined here. The only thing is we have another kind of component that is text. This text would not accept classes as this, is one, and so on. In this case, text is just going to be normal text. And if you want to format this text, you will need to add a style modifier, or normal, let's say, style component, which is going to be normal CSS, so font size 16 pixels, and it's going to come as a normal HTML text. Okay, so let's move on, and now we're going to be looking into some other classes that you can use. Another block here. Let's use here block, and we're going to put now a couple of paragraphs with another class that is called content. So content is a general class that you can use for putting text. And now I'm going to copy my infamous fourth ipsum text here, and you see it right here now. And let's look at it. So by default, as Bloom is designed for questionnaires first, you will see that most of the text is formatted as centered justification. So you see, I didn't need to change anything, and it comes centered. But if I don't want that, because I want to put a paragraph, then I can put another modifier, has text left. And this is going to place my text justified to the left. You see now it's a proper paragraph. The breaks on the right and gets aligned on this side. And I can do that also with right or with justified. Let's see if justified works right from here. In case of justified, what you will do is the whole phrase is going to span through the margins available. I don't really like that, so I'm just going to leave that as left. And I'm going to show you some modifiers that are very useful in content. So I'm going to copy this 3 times, and I'm going to show you these extra classes that I have here. Is small. Then I have an is medium, which is default, but I'm going to put it anyway. Medium, and it's large. And this is useful for mobile displays. So if you see, I have the paragraphs here and have this small, and I guess there's an intermediate class. Let me just try this out, because I think the small to medium is jumping quite strongly. So probably default is going to be a normal size. Let's see. Yeah. So you see, there are actually 4 classes. This is small modifier, then it's medium, makes it a little bit bigger, and then it's large. We'll bring it up the whole way up. So these are really useful modifiers as well. If you have content you want to prioritize what it is saying, then you can use them. Okay, then let's move now to boxes. And for that, I will start with a block again, and inside of this block, we're going to put a box. And let's just bring any of the content that I have here and place it into the box. Let's just put now the correct indentation. And there you see the box is coming out with some shadows here. You see below, there's a gray shadow, and on the upper side, you see a line with a border. So inside of this box, I can, of course, put as well my content, and it will change its size. Just indent this and change it to normal content, and we'll see now the box, coming with a title, subtitle, and so on, as text left, and you'll see now the content just aligning to the left. Okay, there it is. So boxes are useful if you want to have, kind of this highlight margins. Now let's try another element. It's going to be notification. And I'm going to copy the same paragraph. And now, if I scroll down, you'll see that there's a block here. It doesn't have any shadows, but you'll see that it has a lighter shade. It has a light gray shade as a background. So the nice thing about notifications is that you can use some color modifiers. So let's try them right now. I'm going to paste here maybe 4 cases. And I'm going to use some of the Bulma classes. So it's primary. It's going to come up with a different color. It's info. So you see in this case, I'm not using has background danger, has background info, but I just use is info, is primary. This is because we're using a notification block, and some blocks in Bulma work in that way. It's warning, and it's success. So let's see them. Now, these are these notification formats. I'm going to change now a little bit my screen here. Let me just grab my browser and expand this a little bit so you can see how the text is adapting to my width. And you'll see in these cases I have almost no or not at all margin or padding. This is something I can change right in the block. And we'll see some other ways of changing the layout so that you can have the proper spacing. Okay, then let's see another element here. This is going to be tags block. I want to put a tag, hello. And the tag is just a tiny button-like element that comes right in the bottom here. This is pretty small. Probably you don't see that well. But I'm going to put now a couple of extra tags and change the color so you can see how these are coming out. So tags will change or will adapt depending on the layout. But in this case, when tags are coming together, as I'm typing them here, they will be equivalent to, they're going to be drawn as side-by-side elements. So black is dark. Let's try another color. Is white, and is danger. Now it's warning. Usually the reason that you have these funny names on the classes is because they tend to be related to messages, and sometimes you want to highlight a warning with a yellow and a danger message with a red color. So you see now I have my tags here on all these colors. So it's something that you can add as well inside of your different components. If I have, let's just try this one. Let's move one of these tags over here and indent. And what I expect is to have this tag. It's coming with an error. Let's see if it works. Probably not. So perhaps what I need to do is actually to remove the indent. Though I think this is going to be coming as a notification, then a tag below that. It's not exactly what I wanted. So I can just put them inside a content block, and then see if I can move the success class up here to has background success. And let's see if this aligns properly here. Yeah, more or less. Now what I'm missing is the color here, and probably the text is not really coming out as I wanted. But anyway, let's just forget about this. And let's move on to another example. That is messages. In the case of messages, you have a bit more. Let me just put the hashtags left. Modifier here, indent, and I'm going to put this message block. And inside a message, you're going to have a message header, and a message body, and there's also a message footer. We're not going to use it right now. And you can put something inside of message, or you can just pick text and put it right into it. And you'll see that it will change the color as well, depending on classes that we can provide up there. So going down here, sorry, I'm missing an indent here, so it's coming as another page. There is block. And there you see, so the message header has a different highlight, where you see text in white and the background is gray. And then you see the box below. It's a whole rounded box. Wrong window. And you'll see there's a bit of rounding here. So if you add a modifier as well to this message box, like is info, like, let's say, then you'll see the whole box formatting accordingly. Oh, it doesn't work with it's like. Let's try with its info. There it is. So yeah, apparently we just discovered that the is modifier on these blocks is not accepting the degree of the color, light or dark. Anyway, let's move on now to a different type of block, that is the hero box. A hero is a full width component that can be also adjusted to be full height. We're going to see that in a minute. So left. Okay, I should be copying that. And let's put this hero element, which also has a hero body. And inside of this, we're going to put a container. And this container is something that Bulma recommends. I don't know if we remove that, perhaps nothing will break awfully, but we will just leave it as it is. Subtitle, and then put here hero title and hero subtitle, and see how this comes out. So you see now there's this space here. You see that it has a bit more spacing, doesn't have any rounded corners. It's a full page element. Let's just move this here. You see it adapts to the whole screen. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add another modifier to this hero component that is full height. And what this will do is it will check the size of my window here, and it will change the height of that element so that it matches my whole browser window. So you see, if I touch a border here, right up here, then below, if I have another component, it will come below that level. So at some point, the hero can take the whole screen, and that's visually that's be helpful if you want to highlight some content. And of course, you can also change the background, and will adapt accordingly to your background. And see that the titles just changed dynamically. I didn't have to put here, I want the text white, because it just got that the background was success, and then it had to change to have a proper contrast. Okay, so what do we have else here? Let's look into cards. Block card. So if you see, well, we've already covered some terrain now, and you see that when I type into my pages YAML, usually when I work with HTML, I can have shortcuts and I can type the classes just like this, and it'll change into HTML. In this case, nothing changes, just as the way I type is the way it remains, so I don't need to have any helpers, and this will work beautifully, I would say. I don't need to play around with some difficult formats. So it will just be remain there as I typed, and it works fine. So let's see a card, and a card has card content as sub-element, and it can have a card footer and some other blocks. If you check the Bulma documentation, you'll see more elements that you can put on a card. For instance, inside a footer, you can put inside something called card footer item. And this is already providing a structure. So there we are with a couple of elements. Now let's fill this with a couple of things. I'm just going to copy from my notepad here into this card content. So we can have here some predefined text, the title. And inside of this, let's try a subtitle. It's like this. And maybe I need to change the text as white as well, so that well, I don't need to do actually that, but if it had a background danger. So let's see how this comes out. Probably the item is going to be dark. So there it is. Yeah, the item actually comes out as white. But the important thing to notice is that when I have items like this, they get spaced evenly below the card. So you can put some extra components that could be laid out in this nice way. So I put 4 titles. Then you see now you have these 4 blocks. And there's a very subtle line. I don't expect you to see that. But between these items, you have a border here, very, actually it's just less than a pixel perhaps. So this is an interesting element that you can use for layouts. And now one of my favorites is this one, which is a table. And tables in HTML tend to be really verbal. You have rows, you have headers, you have all of those stuff, and then you have opening and closing tags, and it doesn't help understanding very well what's inside. So in our case in Bloom, we have very simple components for your tables, and you can have a header, you can have a body of the table, body, and a footer. And inside these elements, I can put, let's try this format. I have to put a row, and then let's see something new from YAML. I can define an array like this, and I'm going to put now column 1, 2, 3, and 4. I think we're okay with 3 columns. So you see, instead of using now text with a dash, I'm just using a square bracket format for my table. And let me just copy this. I'm going to do some shortcut here with my tools. Let's just copy this column and change this to item. Oh, sorry, change this. Okay, column 1, 2, 3, item 1 to 3 on 3 rows. And in footer, let me just try something different now. I'm going to put a row as well, row. But this time I'm going to be using something different. Instead of defining the array like this, which is kind of a shortcut or a simpler way of doing that, I'm going to put that with a dash. So, and it could be helpful because right in here, I cannot define classes to modify the style. But if I put them like this, I can put any block that I saw before, I can just put it here and put title is 5 and has text. Whatever I want, I can put my classes. And this is going to be the same text column, column 1. And then I can put normal text column 2 and 3. And let's see what comes out. So nothing came out. Probably missing something. Yeah, remember. Perhaps my intent was really wrong. I'm going to do something just to troubleshoot this. Let me just remove everything up to here. I'll try to recover it later. Header row. Let's save this and see if I can see my table. Probably the latest update I had on the library just broke this. Table, header, row, body, footer as a row, as a title, and text. Probably I'm missing maybe I was missing a modifier, because if I don't add the type of table, this is going to break. So back to where I was. There's another element that I have to put down here that my table needs. So I'm going to put this as is border table. So there's different types of styles of table that you can have, and one of them is bordered. So we'll check now if it works. It didn't. Oh, I see why. It's because I'm defining these elements as classes or as blocks inside the table, but they're actually attributes, which means they don't have the dash. So now it should work. And it didn't. So this is because of the indent. There we go. Now there is. So you see now the table just came out, and you see that we have the format as we were expecting, and you see the column here with the text danger comes as red, and it is bordered. And there's something else I can do. There's a modifier called is full width, just as the one that we saw is full height. And this is going to expand the table through the whole width of my page. And if I change the page width, the table is going to adapt to that. So bear with me a few minutes more. I just want to show you a couple of things extra. Let's jump into layouts. So we saw tables. Tables usually serve in HTML to reorganize your content. But a better way of doing that is by using column or a layout based on columns. And in many style frameworks, you'll find these flex elements that allow you to distribute your content in this way. So I'm going to put another element here called columns. And inside this columns element, I'm going to put a column singular, and then add some text. So let's just put 3 columns. That's more than enough. I'm going to take advantage of my editor here and put in all columns the same element. I'm going to put a Asian element just as the one we were using before. Column 1, 2, 3, and this block or this component columns is going to distribute evenly my new columns. You see them here. So you see, as I choose a notification element, they come out with a background, with a gray background, and they come evenly distributed. If I want to take advantage of the grid system of the framework, I can change the size of the columns. So let's just copy this and make another example. And in this case, I'm going to change the size of the columns with a modifier. So in this case, imagine that your whole width is actually composed of 12 divisions. So if I distribute them in a different way, I'm going to use the is2 and is8 modifiers. So at the end, the sum should be 12. If you leave this without any modifier, it will adapt to have the whole width. So I can just omit that. And now you see that the columns that I have here are coming as indicated on my document definition. So you see this is a smaller column. I have a larger column here. And this allows you to compose your page in a more specific way if you want to. Okay, so there's a couple of things we can show as well here. Let's copy this again. And now I just want to show you some other interesting modifier. If I skip this last column, and now I'm going to define, instead of defining this as is2, I'm going to use another Bulma modifier that is 2/3. So it's like saying just instead of using the absolute number, just use a relative size of the column. So if I go now below here, you see that this column is going to be covering 2/3 of the screen, while this is going to cover the rest, 1/3. So columns are really valuable for changing your layout. But you saw something happening as well. Maybe you noticed that when I squeeze my screen right here, just before jumping into this breakpoint that distributes a column for a mobile format. Remember, we're using a beautiful framework that adapts for mobile. That's really making us the work easy. But in this exact size, you see that this column, the 1 is pushing the column down, and then you see that the column 2 has a gap here. So there's another element that you can use called tile that allows you to change that, and that you can have evenly sized columns depending on the elements that are on the sides. So I'm going to just show an example here really quickly. And for that, I'm just going to copy a block so that we can see now this structure. This is a slightly complicated example because tiles need to have 3 levels. So first you have a tile that is an ancestor, then you have a tile that is a parent, and you see I still have my notifications here, but I'm adding a tile class, and now I'm also adding a isChild modifier. So you always have to have these 3-tier or 3-level components. All of them are tiles. So if I save this, let's see what happens with these tiles. So let's just change my width so you can see them. There they are. So you see there's 2 tiles here coming, one below the other, tile top, tile bottom, and this is produced with this isVertical modifier. Let me just tip this, and then we'll see something quite different. So you'll see that tiles are actually arranging horizontally, and as I have here a parent tile, these two tiles are going to merge together, while this tile is going to be taking the other space or the other side of the screen. So they behave in a very different way as columns and can be useful for a better layout. I really like tiles. And let me just return this to how it was. And now we're running out of time, but just before leaving, I want to show you a quick teaser of what we can do with this layout. So all of this seems pretty useful, but what happens with our components? Remember that Bloom is a tool for working with mixed content, that is exposition type of content, videos, multimedia, and so on, but also questions. So I'm just going to copy a question. Instead of having this tile 2, I'm going to just remove this, and I'm going to open here question as an element. You remember in the first episode, we were seeing this very fast quiz editor where you were just typing questions and then the options, the responses of those questions. And then there was intermediate code coming out on the screen below your original text. So in this case, I can define as well a question. It's like this, question 1, and then I have points. This is going to be 10 points, and options. And the options that I want to display here are with value 2. I want to display. I want to put this like this, true as text, and then this option is going to give a credit. I'm missing something here. This shouldn't be element. Should be more like attribute credit 1. And if you don't want to type the whole question, you can just use the web editor that we have for questions and then copy the text and place it here. Or feedback. And the feedback is going to be a text as well, saying, yes, it's true. And let me just copy this option here and make the a false value with a false text and a credit 0. No, it's true. And if I save this, and let's look at this on wider screen, what I'm going to find is that right here, there's a question. So you see that the potential of this is you can combine with these layouts anything that you want. Imagine that on this tile, you have a video explaining something. Then on the bottom tile, you're going to have a text. And then you have a question right after that. Don't mind the Spanish here. If I just click on this, it's a proper question that will give the feedback, and it's going to give me a report right into the question for all the responses that I get on this layout. So we just took a bit of the time that we had scheduled, but I think it was really worth getting up to this point. And I wanted to show you also this teaser. Next episode, we're going to be dealing with more multimedia content. So we're going to be mixing images, videos, and stuff. And we're going to be looking into a very interesting problem that is called the artistic direction problem. And that is when you have an image that is responsive, that is, it changes with your screen. If you're seeing it in a mobile phone or in a desktop or tablet, it will change. Sometimes the way you need to change that image means you need to crop either side of that image, or the top or the bottom. Or maybe you don't want to change a corner, you want to pivot around that corner, and the rest is going to be adapting. So that's the artistic direction problem, because usually a programmer won't grasp that right away. Someone needs to come to him and tell him what part of the image needs to be highlighted. If there's a person, for instance, in that image, you don't want to crop the head, right? You want to keep that inside. And then when the image is changing, you will be able to adapt the screen without losing that focus. So we're going to be dealing with that in the next episode. For the moment, thank you. And I'll see you here. It's been fantastic session now, and I expect to have this type of dynamics, having more and more examples, and if necessary, we'll open also our desktop or screen and type up some concepts. But I think right now this is the way I prefer to to be transferring or to be communicating what we have now on our tools. Okay, bye, and see you later.